definitely got emotional when I learned that she passed, even though, like, it's just a wild bird, right? But you just feel connected.
She was our wings over Big Bear, a soaring symbol of freedom most never get to see.
I'm going to miss seeing her for sure because she knew me and I knew her.
But Jackie flew into our homes and our hearts, giving us a rare bird's eye view of the American bald eagle.
I just hope everyone in the community just remembers, you know, the good memories and the legacy that she's leaving.
It has been quite a flight for Jackie. The beloved Big Bear bald eagle was 14 years old when she died on August 10th at the Ojai Raptor Center. I'm Joy Benedict, and I've been covering Jackie, honored to cover Jackie for the last 10 years. She had been at the Raptor Center for weeks, struggling with a mysterious illness. But as we look back on the life of America's most famous feathered flyer, we realize she was so much more than just the star of our Raptor reality show. She left a legacy on the community that will continue to soar for years to come. There is something missing at Big Bear Lake. The sky feels somber since our famous feathered flyer fell.
She was beloved by many. People referred to her as the Queen of Big Bear.
It was more than 3 weeks ago when Jackie was seen fighting with younger birds and wading through the water before collapsing on this dock as everyone rallied behind her.
We were going to sit here and rotate throughout the night just to protect her.
She was rushed to a raptor rescue and then another, but apparently no protection or love could save Jackie. The Ojai Raptor Center announcing she died Monday morning.
Jackie was a very dynamic being. She was the coolest eagle.
But Jackie was so much more than just a bird.
She's just so wonderful to watch.
She captured the heart of this community and the world through her nest cam.
We saw one of the eagles, one of the adults flying overhead. So cool. It's not every day you get to see a bald eagle.
And there is no one better to tell the story of Jackie than the human who likely loved her the most, retired biologist Sandy Steers, who died in February from cancer.
I would stand out here watching, and I just couldn't get enough of it.
This was an interview we did with Sandy in 2025.
I got, I guess, obsessed with watching the eagles when I first saw the first eggs that were laid up here, and that was with Ricky and Lucy.
Her so-called eagle obsession led to the founding of the nonprofit Friends of Big Bear Valley. Ricky and Lucy were Jackie's parents, but Jackie, who hatched back in 2012, was actually first named Jack after a Forest Service volunteer. And through the love of Jackie, that first camera went up in 2015 in time to see her make the nest her own with her first lover, Mr. B. But that was a love that didn't last.
2018, Shadow showed up.
So she booted Mr. B and got herself a younger bird.
Yes.
She and Shadow have been partners for 8 years. We have watched them lay eggs and lose them just to lay more. In 2024, Jackie sat on her nest in a snowstorm for 62 hours protecting her eggs. And as their family grew, so did their nest, as the world watched what we imagined was their love fluttering too. He just flew up with this giant fish.
Yes.
And he said, "Happy Valentine's Day, move."
He did.
And through this relationship and these cameras, the need to protect our national bird also soared. $10 million was raised just last month to buy 53 acres on the lake for Jackie and her brood. Big donations and small ones from lemonade stands and fundraisers. A plot of land Jackie will now never know was hers.
So many people love Jackie and Shadow so much.
A devotion to this regal raptor that changed the shoreline and our hearts, as Jackie showed the world the strength and power of the bald eagle and left a legacy as fierce as the freedom she represents. So Jackie has obviously been a staple in Big Bear Valley. Now, scientists will say that bald eagles typically mate for life. But as you just heard, she actually had two partners, Mr. B and then Shadow. Quite a trendsetter, our Jackie. Well, bald eagles are typically able to start breeding around the age of 5. That's when their heads will go fully white and things can start getting a little frisky. In her life, Jackie laid 19 eggs. 10 of them hatched, 7 fledged, meaning her chicks flew away and had lives of their own. And although we did many stories over the years of her lovebird behavior, we're focusing on her last year. So let's fly back to January when Jackie laid her first eggs of what became her final season. It's the talk of the town as Jackie and Shadow can't stop squawking about their newest egg.
I'm excited to see Shadow and Jackie. They just had their babies.
Carissa Crawford has her binoculars ready at Dana Point Park in Fawnskin, hoping for a glimpse of the famous eagles. But the best bird's eye view is always from the nest cam, set up by Friends of Big Bear Valley.
Nature is beautiful, and getting to experience that and being able to watch it live, from wherever you are is really exciting.
It was around 4:30 in the afternoon Friday when Jackie laid her first egg of the season. A minute later, Shadow swooped in for his first look at the future eaglet, with possibly what appeared to be a small smooch and peck for his feathered partner.
And that live feed is great, and we get to watch how they feed the babies and how they make their nests and how they mated.
And mate they have, as the world has watched as Jackie and Shadow ruffled each other's feathers and literally started nesting, first with more sticks, then after the egg was laid, softer material.
The whole process of how the eagles do their life is just beautiful.
And as you watch Jackie and Shadow switch off brooding the egg, you can see they also leave it unattended. Scientists call it delayed incubation. It's a sign of a possible second egg. The birds delay the incubation of the first in hopes that they hatch together.
I watched it last year when the other 2 eggs were hatching. It was so exciting to watch them to hatch out of the eggs and grow, and we watched them until they flew away, and now there's another one this year.
In both 2024 and 2025, Jackie laid 3 eggs each year about 3 days apart. So bird lovers are watching and hoping that she'll lay more eggs this week.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be watching.
Wait and watch, whether from Big Bear Lake or from your home. For with 2 cameras rolling, you don't need an eagle's eye to catch the best love story in this mountain town. So Jackie, as expected, ended up laying a second egg 3 days later after the first one. But unfortunately, neither survived. Jackie stopped sitting on them a few days later, and we eventually saw that one of those eggs was cracked. Now, instincts tell bald eagles to stop incubating the eggs when or if there is a crack, and unfortunately, she had a second egg in the nest as well. So when ravens breached the nest, they got both of those eggs. But it was still January, and although rare, there was still hope for what is called a double clutch. And of course, those of us who know Jackie know she is no ordinary bird. She was a winged warrior. So despite it only happening in roughly about 3% of nesting attempts, Jackie did in fact have a double clutch this year. She laid 2 more eggs in February, and this time they survived. 2 baby chicks reared their fluffy little heads and then pipped into the world in April. It is a town named after bears, but if you ask anyone in the San Bernardino Mountains, Big Bear Valley once again has eagle fever, as the newest fierce future fledglings pipped into the world over the weekend.
I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Evelyn Lee is on spring break with her family and couldn't be more excited to birdwatch in Fawnskin, hoping for a glimpse of the town's famous feathered flyers, Jackie and Shadow.
We saw one of the eagles, one of the adults, flying overhead over the tree line. They're so cool. It's not every day you get to see a bald eagle.
Of course, the world watched with a bird's eye view online from the Friends at Big Bear Valley Nest Cam. First a pip on Friday, and by Easter Sunday, Jackie and Shadow became a family of 4.
They're just so fluffy and precious. I mean, I'm glad we can't touch them because I'd just be...
Of course, most in the mountains aren't fair weather fans. And if you followed earlier this year, there was plenty of heartbreak.
And we're a little brokenhearted at first when they lost those eggs, but then when they had more, we were like, oh, there's still hope.
Jackie laid 2 other eggs early in the season. One cracked and the raven swooped in. Then a few weeks later, even more heartbreak as the founder of Friends of Big Bear Valley and fierce protector of the eagles, Sandy Steers, died after a battle with cancer, which is why many think one of these chicks should be named after her.
Sandy's a good name.
But Friends of Big Bear Valley says that's not what Sandy would have wanted. Long-standing tradition is that the local 3rd graders named the chicks in a competition.
I think kids should pick them. They pick the best names. Maybe something, connected to Easter because they had it on Easter.
For now, they are simply Chick 1 and Chick 2. But that's not ruffling any feathers, as this town is just happy to have a little hope and a lot of visitors anxious to see them fly.
So happy for them. I'm happy that they got a redo.
They're so adorable. Oh my goodness. I love them so much. I'm so glad that both of them hatched this year.
Certainly a happy moment, but Jackie wasn't the only one with loss earlier this year. As you just heard, we mentioned a woman by the name of Sandy Steers. She was the founder of Friends of Big Bear Valley, an avid bird watcher who fought fearlessly for Jackie and her wildlife there in her neighborhood for the last 20 years. Steers was a cancer survivor, but her cancer returned in 2025 and she died in February. But since she is the reason most of us even know who Jackie is at all, we have to also look back on how her love of the eagles of Big Bear led to the world loving them too. There is a somber feel over Big Bear Lake as the best spot for bird watching was empty. Jackie and Shadow's most famous fan has died.
I would stand out here watching, and I just couldn't get enough of it.
Sandy Steers fell in love with the eagles of Big Bear Valley.
I got, obsessed with watching the eagles when I first saw the first eggs that were laid up here, and that was with Ricky and Lucy.
That was almost 3 decades ago. In 2001, she helped found Friends of Big Bear Valley, a nonprofit dedicated to wildlife and the bald eagles. And 10 years ago, that foundation mounted the first Nest camera that introduced the world to Jackie and her love life.
2018, Shadow showed up.
So she booted Mr. B and got herself a younger bird.
Yes.
Over the years, we interviewed Sandy Steers numerous times. As eggs were laid and chicks were hatched.
It fills my heart, and I just love that these eaglets are hatched and can bring I'm having tears.
I know you're gonna make me cry. Stop it, Sandy. No one knew the eagles of Big Bear better, but she didn't just speak for the birds. She spoke up for her community.
The care that this neighborhood has for one another, she exhibited that every time she would walk by.
Melissa Delaney lives next door to Steers and a stone's throw from the nest.
I remember running into her at the post office once, and that was when the 3 eaglets were born last year. And everyone was just so excited. It was like she had given birth to 3 eagles. It was just adorable. It was just like, congratulations,
A biologist by trade, Steers once owned a tech company and retired to the mountains where she started bird watching. She says it was someone with the Forest Service who asked her to keep an eye out for the eagles. So the Forest Service found them and
Yes.
you fell in love with them.
Absolutely, yes, I did. And I couldn't stop watching them.
And she invited the world to watch with her.
She just said, all I wanted to do was see inside of the nest. And little did she know that she was going to create something that was so huge.
Friends of Big Bear Valley announced her death on Wednesday, as she had been ill for several months. And although Steers may have been the face of the fight, they say her legacy will still fly.
Sandy wanted us to keep going and move forward.
And as this community says goodbye to a tireless advocate and neighbor, the eagles seem to also wave her on. A fitting show from her feathered friends who almost seemed to notice she was missing. A public memorial was held for Sandy Steers in June. Dozens of people came out to pay their respects and thank her and her family for what she did for her community.
Across the internet, people from all across the United States are aware of Big Beard because of her.
She was calm, kind, wise, funny. She was magic.
Of course, the appreciation for what Sandy Steers did for the Eagles led to the local third graders in town to name one of Jackie's Eagles after her. Luna and Sandy were named during the annual competition in the spring, and at the end of June, they spread their wings and they soared for the very first time. It was a small flutter to the tip of a branch, a pause, and then Luna lifted into the sky.
As I was watching it, he fledged, and it was the most incredible thing that I've seen to actually get to see an eagle take their very first flight.
As magical as it was to watch online, those bird watching in Fawnskin by Big Bear Lake were ecstatic.
And I ran over to one of the ladies that was here and we just hugged, and I didn't expect to have that kind of emotion with it.
Andrea Prince has been watching the nest since Friday. After driving out from Calabasas, she was hopeful to witness this in person.
It was one of the most beautiful things that I've seen in my life.
She was also here Sunday.
Oh my God!
And caught video of Sandy falling.
The emotions that I had yesterday, that scared me so much.
Sandy appeared to have been knocked out of the nest by her brother Luna. She fell, got her bearings, and then flew.
They know better than us to survive.
Benoit Lesieur drove up with his family from Burbank. He's been watching for years online, but it's his first time to see the eagles in person.
I'm a big fan of nature. I like animals. So, I mean, I never see eagles. Where I'm from in France, we don't have bald eagles, so I always want to see some in real.
Of course, it's been a season of mixed emotions regarding Jackie and Shadow. Laying 2 eggs in January, then losing them, miraculously laying 2 more, all while the community said goodbye to Sandy Steers, whose organization, Friends of Big Bear Valley, operates the nest cams. She died of cancer in February. The community named one of the eaglets after her. So now, with Sandy and her brother Luna both in the sky, folks are hopeful they'll stick around at least for a while.
So that one is cactus snag.
So that many here or watching at home can see our nation's emblem of freedom fly.
Coming up here and actually getting to witness this has just, it's been beautiful.
At 14 years old, Jackie wasn't coming home to her nest as often after those eagles fledged. Her partner Shadow was supplying most of the food for Luna and Sandy. And when Jackie did return, she seemed very hungry, even taking food from her fledglings once. It was believed that she was fighting off young adults in the territory at the time, what scientists call subadults. They are young eagles on their own, but not quite old enough to nest yet. And it was a pair of those subadults who eventually brought Jackie down. It's empty nest syndrome of a different kind, as Shadow, Luna, and Sandy are perched above Big Bear Lake, waiting, as Jackie is in rehab.
And this is where we found her.
Duke and Ann Blackwood found Jackie on their boat dock in Fawnskin on Friday night.
Picked up a small fish and took it to shore.
But as soon as she did, this fight broke out between Jackie and 2 younger eagles that had flown into the area. She fought them off, but had no strength to fly away, swimming and wading across to shore before climbing onto the dock where watchers tried to get her help.
Animal control, they called, I think, the police, the zoo. No one would come. We were going to sit here and rotate throughout the night just to protect her.
But the San Bernardino County Fire Department showed up to help instead.
And as soon as they came around the corner and they saw the eagle, they were like, oh my God, that's our eagle. We're here. We're taking over.
Jackie was rescued by the San Dimas Raptor Rescue, then transferred to Ojai. We are told she doesn't have any broken bones, but is below weight, anemic, and has inflammation of her kidneys.
They simply overpower the resident female. They'll drive her to the ground.
Retired wildlife biologist Pete Nye says what happened to Jackie happens a lot.
She's had a hard season this year.
With 2 sets of eggs, Nye says she may have been weak to begin with. And in the world of eagles, these younger birds could be looking to claim a territory or even hurt her eaglets.
They go in and they actually kill nestlings that are on the nest.
But he says the competition is usually more birds and bees motivated.
Sometimes they actually kill the resident female to take over the nesting situation.
Meaning Shadow may be the prize.
The male will kind of just sit back and say, whatever you two work out, I'm here when you're done.
But the good news is Shadow seems to be also fighting back, hopefully giving Jackie time to recover.
He may be presuming that Jackie is still right around and going to come back any minute.
Meaning the clock is ticking to get Jackie back to health, strong enough to fight again and keep her nest and partner. But those in Big Bear Valley are simply just thankful she's okay and proud that she came looking for help.
She needed help and she came to us. So that was really special.
And now they're just wanting to see her fly home. Jackie did not make it home. The San Dimas Raptor Center rushed to Big Bear Valley in the middle of the night to get her, but because she is a bald eagle, they were not certified to treat her. The next morning, biologists instead drove her another 2 hours west to the Ojai Raptor Center in Ventura County.
The adult eagle that we picked up was sick, very sick. There were no physical injuries, so we were able to look at, do a quick assessment, look at her wings and things like that. There was nothing obvious, but she was very skinny and underweight.
At the Ojai Raptor Center, her treatment was full of ups and downs. She had a CT scan, a bone marrow biopsy, and even a blood transfusion from an ambassador bald eagle named Spirit, who lives in captivity. But despite 3 weeks in intensive care and around-the-clock monitoring, she died. But the hope that Jackie gave so many when it came to conservation actually thrived. Not only were there countless donations made on her behalf to the Raptor Centers and to Friends of Big Bear Valley, but the dream to buy her land actually came to be. For years, activists tried to prevent a housing development along Big Bear Lake called Moon Camp. They failed in court, but the owner of the property agreed to sell it to the Eagles if they could raise $10 million by the end of July. And with days to spare and Jackie in the hospital, the money came just in time. It is a bird's eye view of Big Bear Lake that Shadow can't help but soak in. His home for the last 8 years with his wing woman Jackie. But it is a home that just got bigger.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
Neighbors on the lake are in awe after a multi-million-dollar donation put the community over the top to save a 53-acre lakefront property from development.
I think it's great that so many people love Jackie and Shadow so much to where they gave all that they could.
Kim Bingham, one of 25,000 people from all over the world who gave what they could to stop the Moon Camp development. Property gated off, slated to become 50 homes, a private marina, 55 more boats on Big Bear Lake.
Most of the lake shoreline is filled with businesses and homes. And that was one of the last remaining areas that don't have anything.
It's a project that had been discussed for 2 decades. Last summer, Friends of Big Bear Valley lost its fight to keep the parcel for the Eagles as the world-famous flying duo of Jackie and Shadow nest less than a mile away. But after winning in court, the owner of the property offered to sell the land to Friends of Big Bear Valley for $10 million.
Sandy orchestrated this agreement. It took a few months to get everybody to the table and agree, but it was finalized right before her death.
It was the final preservation project for Sandy Steers, one of the founders of the organization and mother hen of Big Bear's Eagles. She died of cancer in February.
This was a grassroots community fundraiser. We didn't have any major corporate sponsorship. It was all by the kindness of people wanting to make a difference.
In a matter of months, this community raised $4.5 million, but the deadline was July 31st. And in the 11th hour, OpenAI founder Greg Brockman and his wife Anna pledged the rest.
About 5.5.
I mean, that's just an incredible donation.
Absolutely. Anna loves Jackie and Shadow. She's a big fan. She was very inspired by the community effort.
And now the San Bernardino Mountain Land Trust will buy the land and do absolutely nothing with it.
It's insane how these people came together and raised all that money.
It's a big donation, so I'm really glad that they were able to come up with the money.
A piece of lakefront property, easy fishing, and a sanctuary giving Jackie, Shadow, and their feathered friends a chance to fly. So as you have seen, there are a lot of eagles in Big Bear in the summer. You know, the fishing is good, the flirting is better. And without a crowned queen of the nest, things are getting a little interesting up there, as many birds nicknamed Jolene, Jolene, Jolene seem to be fluttering around, hoping to catch the eye of our bird bachelor. But there is one in particular who flew into the nest after Jackie died, we should mention, who seems to almost now be invited. It is an empty nest syndrome felt all over the world. Jackie is gone, Shadow hasn't returned, and friends of Big Bear Valley are left waiting on nature.
This property is 450 acres.
But one biologist is finding the hope in the heartache.
There's so much emotion in this, everyone's so invested, but it's also exciting that we even get the chance to witness this.
With 2 cameras on Fawnskin, several eagles have been spotted as we're waiting to see who takes over the nest now left behind. There were the 2 seen squabbling with Jackie last month, another Shadow batted out of the nest before Luna and Sandy left, and now this one making her presence known.
KD1 is an eaglet from our 2022 nest.
KD, as bird watchers are calling her, is a banded young adult eagle hatched in the Prado Basin in Riverside County. Jenna Carpenter is the field biologist here.
KD, being 4.5, is almost of breeding age for bald eagles. When they hit 5, that's when they can start laying eggs. So KD1 might be looking around, looking for habitat, looking for territories.
Although scientists believe it is a she, it is too early to tell.
I think a lot of people are calling it a female, and I think that looking at it, that might be so, but what we do is make an educated guess.
And whether the feathered flyer becomes the new star of our 2-camera show remains to be seen. But here is what we know.
Still she?
KD was banded when she was a few weeks old. Her parents, named Ricky and Lucy, arrived in the Prado Basin 6 years ago and built a nest. KD hatched the 2nd year, one of 9 eagles who fledged here. She, like many eagles, are currently in Big Bear, which is normal behavior for young adults.
A lot of eagles go to Big Bear just to hang out for a while. It's not breeding season right now, and so most of the eagles, what they're thinking about is being in good habitat with good food.
But come winter, they're expected to pair off and find nests. Shadow, who is alone now, was seen in his favorite tree Tuesday. After visiting Jackie's nest, KD flew over to say hello, but there's no guarantees Shadow will stick around with or without a partner. A tough reality for lovers of this bird's eye view, but for those who know KD, they're just thankful to see her at all.
We don't often get to get updates about what the eagles that come out of this nest are doing, and so to be able to see where they've gone is really wonderful.
And many are hoping the nest left behind will soon have an eagle for the world to love. And although nature is still deciding who will be the next star of our Raptor reality show, thanks to the cameras owned and operated by Friends of Big Bear Valley, it is important to remember that Jackie will always be the first. In her 14 short years, she showed us love, heartbreak, and motherhood. The bald eagle in itself is unique to North America. They are strong, independent, and they are faithful, which is why they are sometimes called America's winged warriors. So as we say goodbye to Jackie, we must also say thank you, for she introduced the world to not only our beautiful mountains here in Southern California, but she showed us how to fly by reminding us why the bald eagle is the feathered emblem of our nation's freedom.